Retirement planning at 62 in the UK. Is it too late? If you are 62 and worried that you have left retirement planning too late, I want to answer that question directly before anything else. No, it is not too late. But I also want to be honest with you, because I think you deserve honesty more than you deserve reassurance. If you are 62 and you have very little saved, you do face real constraints. The window for compounding growth is shorter. The state pension age is 4 years away. The time for large pension contributions is limited. And some of the planning decisions that are most powerful, filling national insurance gaps, building your ISA over many years, maximising pension contributions through multiple high-earning years, have a shorter runway at 62 than at 55. What is also true is this: the 4 years between 62 and 66, when the state pension begins, are genuinely valuable planning years. And what you do in those 4 years, and in the first few years of retirement itself, will have a significant and lasting impact on your financial position for the following 2 decades. In this video, I'm going to be specific about what is still possible at 62, what the realistic income picture looks like depending on where you are now, and the exact sequence of actions that will make the most difference between now and the day you retire. Not general encouragement, specific steps. Let me start by establishing what you're working with at 62 and what the income picture realistically looks like. The state pension in 2025 to 2026 pays £221.30 per week for people with 35 or more qualifying years. That is £11,502 per year. If you have fewer qualifying years, your entitlement will be proportionally lower. And at 62, with 4 years still to go before state pension age, you have 4 more years of potential national insurance qualifying years still to build, either through employment, through claiming relevant benefits, or through voluntary top-up contributions. The first thing to do, today not next week, is log into Gov.uk and check your state pension forecast. This takes 10 minutes. You need to know your current forecast, your national insurance record, year by year, and whether you have any gap years that are still within the 6-year fillable window. This number, your state pension forecast, is the foundation of everything else in your retirement income plan. Your private pension pot is the second number you need. Log into every scheme you hold: current workplace pension, any old employer pensions, any personal pensions or SIPs. If you have lost track of old pensions, the government's pension tracing service at findpensioncontacts.service.gov.uk can locate them. Add up the total. Your ISA and other savings are the third number. What do you have outside of pension and state pension that could generate income or be drawn in retirement? And your planned retirement date is the fourth variable. If you plan to retire at 60 when the state pension age, you have 4 years of contributions, national insurance qualification, and ISE FAR building still ahead of you. If you want to retire earlier, the planning challenge is larger. If you are willing to work beyond 66, the picture improves significantly. With those 4 numbers, you can calculate whether your retirement income, from state pension, private pension, and other sources, covers your living costs. And if it does not, you know exactly what the gap is, and therefore what needs to happen. Here is what is genuinely still possible at 62, and I want to be concrete rather than vague. If you are still working and your employer offers a pension scheme with matching contributions, every pound of employer matching you are not currently taking is money being left on the table every single month. Before anything else, confirm you are contributing enough to capture the full employer match. This is non-negotiable. The instant return from employer matching is the single best financial action available to you, regardless of age. If your employer offers salary sacrifice, use it. Salary sacrifice reduces your gross salary by the amount contributed to the pension, which means you save national insurance on the amount sacrificed, and so does your employer. For a basic rate taxpayer sacrificing £5,000 per year, the national insurance savings approximately £600 in additional pension contributions at no extra cost to you. If you have available cash, from savings, from an expected inheritance, from the sale of assets, pension contributions up to the £60,000 annual allowance attract full tax relief. A £10,000 pension contribution costs a basic rate taxpayer £8,000 out of pocket after tax relief. For a higher rate taxpayer, it costs £6,000. The 4 years from 62 to 66 are 4 years of contribution opportunity at these rates. Every year used is more valuable than it first appears. National insurance gap filling at 62 is where some of the best available financial returns still sit. You need 35 qualifying years for the full state pension. At 62, depending on your working history, you may be close to that number already, or you may have gaps that are still fixable. Under current rules, you can fill gaps going back 6 tax years. Some of those years will fall during periods when you may have had lower earnings, taken time out for caring responsibilities, or been self-employed with modest profits. Each gap year costs £824.20 in Class 3 contributions and adds approximately £6.32 per week to your state pension, which is £328 per year for life. Call the Future Pension Centre on 0800 731 75. They can tell you which specific gap years, if filled, would actually increase your state pension forecast. Not every gap increases the pension. If you already have 35 or more qualifying years, additional ones make no difference. But for many people at 62, There are 1 to 3 gap years that are still within the 6-year window, and that would each add £328 per year to their state pension permanently. On a 20-year retirement, a single gap year that costs £824.20 returns over £8,000 in additional pension income. The payback period is 2.5 years. There are very few investments available to anyone that match this return. Also consider whether you want to continue building national insurance years through the 4 remaining years before state pension age. If you are still employed, you are building qualifying years automatically. If you take early retirement before 66, you stop building them, which may affect your final state pension entitlement if you are not yet at 35 qualifying years. The 4 years between 62 and 66 are the last window for meaningful ISA building before retirement begins. I want to make the case for taking this seriously, even if it feels like a small amount to contribute relative to your pension pot. In retirement, ISA withdrawals are completely invisible to HMRC. They do not count as income. They do not affect your tax position. They do not interact with the state pension threshold or the basic rate band. They are the cleanest source of retirement income available. In the 4 years between 62 and 66, the bridge period before the state pension, your taxable income is largely within your control. Drawing from an ISA rather than the pension keeps your taxable income lower and your tax bill smaller. Arriving at 66 with £50,000 or £60,000 in an ISA rather than nothing is the difference between flexible tax-free income in that bridge period and being entirely reliant on taxable pension withdrawals. If you have £20,000 per year available from income or existing savings to put into the ISA, use the full annual allowance every year until retirement. If it is less, use what you can. Every pound in the ISA at retirement is a pound that can be withdrawn tax-free for the rest of your life. Here is what the income picture realistically looks like at different starting positions at 62. If you have £200,000 in your pension pot and 4 years until state pension age, at a conservative 5% growth rate, that pot grows to approximately £243,000 by 66 before any additional contributions. If you add £5,000 per year in contributions with basic rate relief, bringing the actual contribution to £6,250, you arrive at 66 with approximately £270,000. A £270,000 pot in drawdown at a 3.5% withdrawal rate generates approximately £9,450 per year in private pension income. Added to a full state pension of £11,502, total retirement income is approximately £20,952 per year, above the minimum PLSA standard of £40,400, but below the moderate standard of £30,300 for a single person. Not the retirement most people hope for, but not destitution either. And the gap between £20,952 and £31,300 is closable through part-time work in early retirement, through deferring the state pension for 1 or 2 years to receive a higher amount, through reducing spending in the early retirement years, or through a combination of all three. If you have £350,000 in your pension pot at 62, growing at 5% with modest contributions, that pot reaches approximately £450,000 to £470,000 at 66. In drawdown at 3.5%, it generates approximately £16,000 per year. Combined with the full state pension, total income is approximately £27,500 per year. Approaching the moderate standard, if you have very little saved and are relying primarily on the state pension. The full new state pension of £11,502 per year provides a modest but real foundation. Continued working to 66 or beyond, particularly with employer pension matching for the remaining working years, builds the private pension meaningfully. Part-time work in early retirement supplements income without requiring large portfolio withdrawals. And housing equity, if you own your home, represents a potential resource through equity release or downsizing, though these decisions require careful consideration and regulated advice. The point is that the income picture at 62, across a range of starting positions, is not the catastrophe people often fear. It is a real constraint that requires realistic planning and possibly revised expectations. But not hopelessness. There are 4 things you need to do this week, not eventually. This week, check your state pension forecast on gov.uk. Log in with your Government Gateway account and note your current forecast, any gap years in your record, and your exact state pension age. Find all your pensions. Log into every scheme. Use the pension tracing service for any lost pots, and add up your total current pension wealth. Check your current contribution rate. If your employer matches contributions above what you currently pay, increase your contribution to capture the full match starting from your next payslip. Call the Future Pension Centre on 0800 731 0175 if your state pension forecast shows gaps. Find out which gap years are worth filling before the 6-year window closes. Everything else, the drawdown strategy, the ISA building plan, the retirement income modelling, follows from having these 4 pieces of information clearly in front of you. The Pension Pot Calculator inside Retirement Ready UK brings all of this together. You enter your current pot, your state pension forecast, your contribution rate, and your planned retirement age. And it shows you your projected retirement income against the PLSA living standards, the impact of different contribution levels, and what you would need to close the gap to a moderate or comfortable standard? Link is in the description. Let me close with the honest answer to the question in the title. Is it too late to do retirement planning at 62? No, not if you act deliberately over the next 4 years. The state pension, if fully entitled, provides a guaranteed inflation-linked £11,502 per year for life. That is real money. The employer matching and tax relief still available on pension contributions in the 4 years to 66 are genuinely powerful. The national insurance gap-filling opportunity, where £824.20 returns over £8,000 over 20 years, is still open. And the income sequencing decisions made in the first few years of retirement, managing the bridge period before the state pension starts, can meaningfully reduce the lifetime tax bill on whatever pot you do have. None of that is nothing. For many people at 62, the combination of these actions, taken seriously and implemented consistently over the next 4 years, produces a retirement income that is substantially better than if they had done nothing. Check your state pension forecast today. It takes 10 minutes. Everything else flows from that number. Hit like if this was useful. Subscribe for more UK retirement planning content. I will see you in the next one.